What's going on, everybody? It's Capes and Cals. It's Friday. Man, we should have had an episode last week. Well, we did. It just lives in the deleted space of time. That's right, because it's gone, because this computer. So maybe this computer works today. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you see this. Maybe you don't. But we're going to do a show nonetheless. And we have stuff to talk about, as you see in the title. The Jonathan Majors trial has started. Everybody has their opinions thus far. But as we said many times over, is Marvel going to make a really bad decision of getting rid of Jonathan Majors if it turns out that he's in the right here, that he didn't do anything, the accusations that are alleged against him. Now, trial is not over yet, but we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the fact of, should they, because there's all these rumors that they were going to start putting doom in there and everything to it. Is that going to change? Or because of everything, do they stick to the plan that they were going to do and they just rewrite around them? We'll discuss that. We'll talk about that for sure. Staying with Marvel, Echo's got some pretty good reviews so far for early screenings that we've seen. Winston and I saw What If Season 2. I guess Episode 1 and 3 is what we saw.
Oh, that's why. It was 1 and 3.
Yeah, 1 and 3. So we'll talk about that. I found that out afterwards. Winston, I left early, and Winston saw a couple of trailers. He saw a continuation of Season 2, I guess, the trailer. And then there was also an X-Men trailer and a Spider-Man trailer. So he'll talk a little bit about that. And there's a few other things. Agatha has a new title. There's a few other. James Gunn's talking Superman and other. Aquaman's right around the corner. I finally got a screening for it, so we'll see how that's a couple days before it comes out. So whatever that means. So we'll discuss it. If you're brand new to the channel, click that. See that thing swirling around there? It's the subscribe button, and we hope that you will join us on this journey as we continue to get closer to 200,000. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. Patreon, we got our full stand-up comedy show up there now. You can watch it. You go to patreon.com/thebigthingshow. And we saw a lot of people actually join up yesterday to watch the show, so thank you. All right, let's get into it. It's myself, it's Winston A. Marshall, it's Capes and Cals. Let's do it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Capes and Cals, myself, Winston A. Marshall, Capes and Cals. No Koi Jandro today.
It's the holidays, man. People got a place to be.
Yeah, and Koi to his own admittance. Is that a word? Admittance. He texted me and said, "Oh, completely forgot I'm out of town, so I'll be back next week." So there you go.
All good.
But you can see him tell filthy jokes on the Patreon.
Speaking of which, I'm just gonna say it now because now that I think I told you this, that I got diagnosed with ADHD this year, so I just forget shit. Mm-hmm. I need my set.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just saying it out loud now because it'll activate it later. That's all.
Yeah. I just need to piece yours out.
For sure.
No, that's not true. I have it. I can just send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sent me that.
It's good. Some new material in there, so I just want to work on it, see how it plays.
Yeah, it's all in there right now, and people are going and curious, and people are having a good time with it. So it's on patreon.com/thebigthingshow. You and I got a chance to see What If Season 2.
Yeah.
I think we differed on opinion of it. I was Episode 1, what they showed, it was the Nebula episode of what if Nebula was, I don't know where she was found, but it was Ronan. Ronan takes over. I don't want to give too many spoilers.
No. It's all good because it's in the trailer. It's what if Nebula joined the Nova Corps. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. I won't say anything else about it. What I did like, and we talked about this, I like the sci-fi noir element of it.
Yeah.
It just, for me, I just didn't resonate with it the way I did with some of my favorite What If episodes.
Sure. Yeah, I dug it a lot just because I'm a science fiction mark, when it comes to that stuff, and so I liked how different it got. Dark, it got gritty. Mm-hmm. It wasn't goofy at all. It really. I mean, there was one character in there that's there to crack jokes, and I thought he was fine and didn't take me away. I thought it fit into the story itself. So I really enjoyed that one a lot. So I was like, oh, is this where we're going to get? I was like, but they always kind of shift the tone, even though in the first season they had the drunk Thor or party Thor episode or whatever too. Episode 3, as it's in the trailer, you see it as the basically what if Happy Hogan is John McClane.
That makes is that the title of it?
No,
Oh,
that's basically what it is.
But right. That makes more sense now that it's episode 3, because I was actually talking to Coy, because we saw him at the screening, and we were both like, so wait a minute. This is a situation where if this drops on the 22nd, you're going to drop the Christmas episode on the 23rd. Why wouldn't you drop it on either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? And if it's episode 3, that actually makes way more sense.
It's episode 3, yeah.
Okay.
I saw it because when you and I saw it, we just assumed that it was 1 and 2. And then I saw they said, well, yeah, they showed to this audience episode 1 and episode 3. I was like, oh, okay. So, and I don't know what 2 is. Maybe they wanted to save it. But 3 is fine. It's like, it is exactly that. It's kind of more of a goofy episode, and like there's some things that if you start to look into, well, wait a minute, if that happened, if you start to go into that mindset, you're going to be like, you can't for this.
I think why I was
sorry, I have to do this
on my shot.
Yeah,
not on your shot.
No.
You did that on my shot.
Yeah, it was a special effect.
Oh my God. White people. So I just I think for me, I'll probably like it a lot more once it's actually Christmas. I can't get into something that is musical based, something that is holiday based, unless I'm in the mindset for it. So I wasn't really ready for that. And I think that's even why it maybe dampered a little for me. I know obviously John McClane's was supposed to be a Die Hard homage, but they leaned heavily more into the holiday part of it than the regular Die Hard did, I would make the argument. Die Hard, yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie and it takes place at Christmas, but they're really leaning into the Christmas part of this.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. And but either way, there's some other stuff that just happens. And I will say, and it's not easy, but what threw me off? Tony's voice didn't sound like him at all.
It's a very good imitation.
Did you think so?
It's a very good imitation, but it's not. They didn't nail it. It's not a direct RDJ.
It's like so. Lake Bell does Black Widow, and she did it in season 1, I think, too. She's great. I can't even really tell that it's not Scarlett Johansson. Maybe it's because he has such a distinct voice.
Sure.
I don't know, but either way, I enjoyed watching. I enjoyed watching it on the big screen. That was also something that was fun to do. But then I left because I go for these things for, like I said, I go there for work. I go to watch it. I put my out of the theater reaction. But still, I just it's like I'm just so far past the Comic-Con thing of it all to where it's like that's what people don't realize that, when a lot of these times, like I love going to these things to get the word out early and everything too, but it's like these well, of course you don't want to say like you're gonna mess up your benefits. These aren't benefits to me. It's nice to be able to see things early for sure to get the word out, but to drive, it took me an hour to get there, it took me an hour to get back. Yeah. If I had the screeners, I would have done the screeners at home. So it's like I like to get the word out, and it does seem though, I'll tell you though, Marvel in general, the interest for Marvel is not there the way that it used to be, because like people, I mean, you put a out of the theater reaction on your channel, put it on mine. Like I did way better with like a Wonka review than I did on What If. I'll tell you that. Yeah,
it's the market has been tainted at this point, and so it's just the pool's been tainted, so it's just not. People aren't as geeked, but I think honestly, so those trailers that there was a series of trailers afterwards. It was X-Men 97.
Okay, so what was in there? Because you can talk about it.
I could talk about it. We obviously just couldn't record anything because it's already been talked about on the internet.
Yeah, you can give your details.
So what they did is they didn't play trailers for each one.
Yeah.
They played like a 30 to 40 second clip of each show in like a sizzle reel, and then wrapped it up with like flashes from each one, like you would see if someone was like coming to
like a supercut.
Yeah,
trailer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like coming to Paramount Plus this fall.
Did they do that dance?
Just like
I
this.
like that. Yeah, it works. It's a good dance. Probably more people to watch it.
1,000%. Yeah. The X-Men 97 was phenomenal. I
people
was
hyped about that.
Oh my God. Like they obviously took the designs and the stylings of that 90s animated series, but they've updated it and done their own thing, and they've kind of steered their way away from Fox and made it more their own kind of styling, but it still falls in that parameter. And then some of the things that they were already doing, you're talking about a veteran X-Men team that are doing combos that are crazy.
Okay.
So like
And they're doing this also. And we actually have a story about X-Men that I want to get into after we wrap up this. They're doing this obviously and putting this out because as we saw, it's the movie's been out long enough, and I think it's not a big secret anymore. The end of the post of the Marvels basically introduces the X-Men officially really into the MCU. So I don't think it's a surprise that the timing of when they're going to put this show out is to get more people like excited that the X-Men are back, and now you're going to see them on Disney Plus, and now they're part of the, you know.
I think that they are very aware of the fact. I don't know how many Fantastic Four fans there really are out there. There's probably plenty. I've never vibed with them. I like Johnny Storm, but I don't really care about
X-Men's
most of them.
Shit. That's everybody.
I love X-Men.
Me too.
And I think they're very aware of the fact. The one thing the Fantastic Four did have as far as licensing is a lot of very interesting like auxiliary characters and villains.
Sure.
So like the Silver Surfer, Galactus, Doctor Doom, all of that is like a big deal as far as that goes. But the X-Men, I mean, oh my God, I feel like for most people that was like their superheroes as far as like Wolverine and Cyclops and Professor X and the Phoenix.
X-Men is the saving grace to Marvel. I think it's the saving grace.
And they know that.
Well, because I hope that they do, because if you look at the from like 2000 when the first X-Men came out and then they started to do the X-Men movies, that really was they when X-Men 2 came out, like they held the superhero interest with everybody. They were the Marvel brand really back in the early 2000s. So if they did essentially what they did with the Avengers, and I this is the thing where some people don't agree with me, but I'm sticking to this. I feel it in my core that this would really work because, as we have said many times over, there are no all-stars in Marvel right now. If you did a movie, whether if you set up a good movie about Rogue and Wolverine and Cyclops and Jean Grey, whoever it was, and in each one of the X-Men or some of the X-Men had movies about them, and then that led into an Avengers type movie, which was X-Men 1, you know, and then you don't need all the other stuff. You don't need, I mean, you can still put Fantastic Four and cross universe, but the cross universe would be the X-Men, and you don't have to start. Well, I don't know if this character is going to play in this and this.
It would work because then what you end up having is despite how people feel about the Marvels as a total overall movie, everybody feels like universally agrees that Iman Vellani is a star and that Miss Marvel is a star, and so like knowing that both in the MCU via the shows and the movies she's now considered a mutant and it's happening in the comics as well, you're also lending the ability for her to, just like she was a vessel for like what was going on in this movie, let her be a vessel to even like dive into what does it mean to be a mutant. Oh, Professor X is here, he can explain that to me.
Evolution.
Like,
that's what X-Men are about. It's evolution.
See,
but that's what it is. It's evolution, and that's the whole point
show,
of it.
X-Men Evolution.
But it does. It shows you like the Avengers and the humans and everything that we knew have now evolved into what the mutants are, right? And you know that you're still going to have these classic characters like Storm and again Wolverine, and you bring in the villains and all of that. You could really play it for the next 10 years if you get away from trying to put in. I understand what they had such success with like Guardians of the Galaxy and bringing in like these side characters nobody really knew about. They're like, oh look, we can make it work, and it ain't work. So they got to get past this multiverse.
I'll put it to you this way. I'll give you a sports analogy because I'm riding high on my Cowboys right now. It's good for you. You got Tommy DeVito. You got something.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna sign DeVito to a 10-year contract.
But for just in this case, we have this incredible rookie kicker. The dude used to play soccer. They said, let's go out, give this guy a shot. He's hit 30 for 30 field goals. He hit 2 at 59 and 60 last week against the Eagles, which is insane.
Record's not still 62, is it?
I think it is.
Wow.
It might be 64. Doesn't matter. The point is, he's not relevant if the team's not good.
You're right.
And so it's the same thing. Guardians is not relevant if the Avengers ain't clicking on all cylinders.
Right.
So if you don't have a Winter Soldier, if you don't have, people go back and forth with Iron Man 3, but like you're still coming off the Avengers hype. Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World's not great, but like you're still rolling. If you don't have that happening, then like you said last week, that the episode that will never air, Guardians doesn't matter. Right. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's going to tune into that because like I don't know who this is. I don't care if Chris Pratt and Zoe Saldana's in it. I don't know.
Guardians was an end to a trilogy that was set up really well.
Well, you're talking about volume 3. I'm saying that first one does not slap if you don't have the ball already rolling.
I hear what you're saying. Right. So that's exactly right. Right. Yeah. And so because you look at because we were talking about the Hulk, and the Hulk would have done much better had it come out a couple years later, I think, but it came out right after Iron Man, and people didn't really know what the MCU was yet. So yeah, you got to set things up, and you got to really build up these characters. And I think by doing that with X-Men would work. But before we jump to this X-Men story, which there was kind of like a potential leak.
Well, there were 2 more parts of that
That's
trailer.
what I was going to ask you. So the trailer itself of the X-Men trailer.
No. So again, it was this supercut sizzle. So the second major thing that was in there was. I think it's called Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Okay.
And it was that was originally, it sounds like what was Spider-Man freshman year.
Yeah.
This is what this is. That looked really great. The animation on that looked a lot of fun.
That's not Tom Holland.
It doesn't sound like it, no. But it looks and sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And this is a Spidey just got bit. He's figuring it out like
not connected to the MCU though.
Doesn't seem like it.
Right.
No.
So this is the confusing stuff where they should make this pretty clear.
Well, X-Men 97 won't be connected either. You're just getting the X-Men back into people's minds.
But that's different because the X-Men don't have anything to connect to at all right now. Is where Spider-Man's still actively in the MCU.
I get fair. I guess just knowing that Deadpool's coming and knowing that we just saw Beast and Binary at the end of the Marvels, that you might make that connection. But I think it's just that you're getting people in the mood to get ready for all of this stuff.
Right.
So that was a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be really interesting to see a young Peter Parker like trying to figure things out. And this would even be, and then a little bit more of What If, which was good. But then the last one was something called Eyes of Wakanda. And so there was essentially stories from Wakanda, and it's covering not only just the people of it, but like I think the tagline was the mantle of Black Panther has been passed on for generations and stuff like this, and this is what it's like under the various rules or whatever it is. And it looks very good. And the one thing that was interesting is you're seeing a lot of the recast T'Challa crowd coming back out at it, and understandably so, in the sense of like, I saw a very funny Cat Williams joke about it where he was like, see, what doesn't make sense to me, Pimpin', Black people can't have a goddamn thing, not even a superhero. Because when Christopher Reeve ended up getting hurt, they didn't just say, well, Superman is now paralyzed. They went and found another Superman. So where is T'Challa? So I was like, that's actually pretty funny.
It's true. And I think that they probably, if you put it that way to Kevin Feige, he'd probably like, oh yeah. As opposed, I think that they were trying to do the right thing.
I get that.
I think that's what it really was. I think it was they were trying to say we just want to honor what he did. Nobody can play Kevin, but it's that point, joke or not joke. It's a fantastic point. James Bond.
Yeah.
Batman.
And that was someone brought that up too. They were like, if all of a sudden, Daniel Craig, I guess spoiler alert for No Time to Die.
That's fine.
Daniel Craig's iteration of Bond dies at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
So if the idea was just all of a sudden, like they're clearly going to do a universe reset in whatever way, like it would be.
It's not even. Yeah, it's just another Bond in the same way that it's like all these other Bonds are like multiverse Bonds. Yeah.
Right. So I think what would have been the move, because I said this before Wakanda Forever came out, is that you could keep the same script, but make it, instead of T'Challa just like dies of some disease off screen, have some situation where T'Challa gets blasted by something, he falls through a portal. It could be anything, and it's like he's gone.
Yeah.
And the very end, you could have in the post-credit scene, like Shuri and them are finally getting past it, and then all of a sudden she just looks up, brother, and then you could recast it for the next movie.
I agree with that actually, but I do think what people should realize, anybody who is calling for the casting of it, because I said I agree. I do think that they eventually should recast the role, but what I'll say is that in the time that the decision was made,
of course,
you've got this movie that's supposed to come out. You're shooting it with your star, and your star passes away.
Right.
And then the pressure starts to go on everybody involved. It's like, what do we do?
Right.
Like, what do we do? We got to have this movie come out. We got to do. What do we do? And it's like, well, with emotions riding real high,
right? They
go, no one else can play this role.
Right.
This is Chadwick's role. And everyone goes, yeah, and then that's right, and the intentions are really good,
absolutely.
But eventually, you've got to look past it and go. I don't know. I met him. I met him a couple of times, but I feel Chadwick would be one of those people that would say, let's continue it on.
The thing about Chadwick that I appreciated more than anything is he was very aware of how important all of these roles that he played were. And I think that's why he gave so much love and care to them.
Yeah.
He was very aware of what T'Challa meant to folks, and it really hit home once they started going on that press tour, because then all of a sudden, like, the idea of there was that one kid that was, you know, passing of cancer, which ironically now it's clear he had already gotten his diagnosis, but they made it a point to have this kid see it before he passed. So he got to see it before the rest of the world, and the kid was happy as can be, cool. And it really moved. So absolutely, he would have wanted that. I think what they did was a beautiful sentiment. I just think, and that's where I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here, especially knowing we're getting a Secret Wars.
Yeah.
We will get another T'Challa. I believe that.
Eventually. The question is when. Right?
And that's why I think people were freaking. I just, you can't, obviously, if that's already in the books of like, okay, we know we're going to rectify this situation. We just want to give space and emotional energy to you know, give Chadwick his due and all that. You can't say, don't worry, guys, T'Challa is going to be back and whatever, you because then you're giving away your whole plan. Yeah. So it does make it a little tricky. I don't envy what they had to do here, but I understand why people were reasonably upset. It's that Cat Williams joke kind of hits the nail on the head.
It does. It makes a lot of sense. And I ask you guys, what do you think about whether it's the recasting? Should they recast? Did they do it the right way? What are your thoughts? Are you excited about the X-Men? Do you agree, disagree with what Winston and I say about how they should potentially really lead the X-Men moving forward? Spider-Man stuff, what if? Are you excited about that at all? Are we wrong? Do we think that more people are actually really excited about it? Leave your comments and tell us exactly what you think. All right, before we move on, I just want to let you know this is a potential spoiler, something with the X-Men coming up, X-Men 97. There's some action figures that were released, and they released some X-Men because of the new series coming up. So there's some names, if you don't want to know at all, who may not be showing up, you've been warned. Okay. So let's start with this article here. X-Men 97 action figures highlight a heroic Magneto and a couple of surprising villains. This is possible spoilers, writes Josh Wilding at Comic Book Movie. Hasbro has revealed another wave of Marvel Legends action figures based on the X-Men 97, and along with a new look of Magneto. X-Men, the animated series, arrived in 1992. And it ran for a total of 76 episodes. The show was a hit and delivered a near-perfect take on the mutant team that still resonates with comic book fans today. We're not exactly shocked that Marvel Studios is revisiting the animated reality in the upcoming Disney Plus series X-Men 97, with the majority of the original cast back to pick up where the classic series left off. As we reported on NUTSDOTCOM, Hasbro has shared a new wave of Marvel Legends action figures, which offer our best look at Cyclops, Jean Grey, Nightcrawler, the heroic Magneto, who will step up to lead the X-Men in Professor X's absence, and the evil Goblin Queen and the Executioner. Here's a breakdown of these things. Cyclops, the consistent and determined leader of the X-Men. Cyclops has the mutant ability to emit powerful red beams of energy from his eyes. Jean Grey, powerful telepath and telekinetic mutant who has faced cosmic entities and world-shattering events in stride. Endlessly empathetic, she serves as the heart of the X-Men. Nightcrawler, despite his good heart and gentle nature, swashbuckling teleporter Nightcrawler is often demonized for his physical mutations, including his indigo fur and a prehensile tail. Magneto, with Professor Charles Xavier gone, Magneto, the self-proclaimed master of magnetism, reinvents himself as he tries to carry forward his oldest friend's dream. Goblin Queen, a Jean Grey doppelganger who shakes the X-Men to their core. Goblin Queen becomes a fierce enemy of the X-Men, and after her mind is corrupted by Mr. Sinister, the Executioner, a mercenary and weapons specialist with high-tech homemade tactical gear, Carl Denti, a.k.a. the Executioner, is determined to make mutants pay for their perceived wrongdoings towards humankind. The X-Men will eventually be rebooted for live action, of course, and X-Men 97 seems like a great way to familiarize many fans with the team before they join the MCU. After all, Fox's movies are quickly becoming a distant memory, and outside of a few exceptions, best off forgotten. You can take a look at this new wave of X-Men 97 figures, including the heroic Magneto and Mr. Sinister's villainous allies. So here's the shot right there. You guys can see that. Yeah, I think this is pretty accurate thing. I mean, I think it's what we said before. They're gearing people up, getting people ready, getting people excited about it. If it's well written, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, I think that it's a good point. There's, let's see, the best X-Men movies, and you know, throw in any ones that I'm missing here. But to me, First Class is still my favorite because it people don't give that movie enough credit. that movie saved the X-Men franchise. The X-Men franchise was on its way out when that movie came out. And I remember seeing that with Mark Riley, and it was like people walking into that theater that day, people were going, oh, another X-Men movie. Let's see if they can do anything with this. And then Vaughn just turned it around completely. And then Days of Future Past was so great, people started to talk about that as the best one ever. X2 is, I would put, if anyone said either X2, Days of Future Past, or First Class were the best, you're not going to get much of an argument from me.
That would be my exact order: X2, Days of Future Past, and then First Class.
Yeah.
And the only reason, for a while, I was saying First Class is the best. Then Days of Future Past came out. I said Days of Future Past is the best. And then I eventually went back and decided to just rewatch all of them, mainly because I was helping Chandru.
Does Logan count? Because
Logan does, and I do love that movie.
Yeah, Logan would be up
But
there too.
my only thing is, as much as I love Wolverine, and I do, there's just other characters that I like and resonate more now that I'm older.
Sure.
And like, I obviously, that's ironic considering that is a story about being older and passing the mantle and all that. But as much as I love that movie, because at that point in life, Wolverine wasn't my favorite anymore. I kind of, it was a little different for me.
I loved Wolverine all the way through. It's just it's a separate movie for me outside of the X-Men. So if it's in that category, people you got to put it in there, then it's ranking pretty damn high.
If we're doing that, then I would say for me it'd be X2, Days of Future Past, Logan, and then First Class.
Yeah, I don't know. Logan's pretty damn good. Logan might be jumping. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter right now.
But for me, it's purely because I love that Days of Future Past storyline in general. It's one of my favorites.
I just watched it recently. It holds up. It's fantastic. It's a great movie. The bottom line is that's it. That's it.
The first one's good too.
First one's good. Yeah, first one's good.
First one's good.
You could put it as it just makes the cut. It makes the cut. It makes the cut for sure. And it's so not fair that one line.
It's Blade to Blade 2.
Yeah, it works. It was X-Men, the first X-Men, absolutely, for sure. So all those, but then outside of those, you start getting into bad movies.
I mean, Last Stand is terrible. It has moments, but that's terrible. Apocalypse is terrible.
Wolverine Origins.
Wolverine Origins is awful.
The other James Mangold Wolverine wasn't bad.
Oh, the Wolverine. I like that.
Yeah, and then the director's cut's even better.
Yeah.
So like that one's not too bad. But you run into some fart pieces once you get towards the end, like especially the Simon Kinberg directed one.
So you had 6 stellar ones, and then you had 1, 2.
The Dark Phoenix basically just destroyed it.
You got about, well, see, that's the thing. They're shooting 60% from the field, if I'm not mistaken. If you don't count the Deadpools, if you do count the Deadpools, then that's 8 out of 12.
It's true, but I mean, I guess because the last few X-Men just hit so poorly because Apocalypse.
It just left a bad taste in it. Oh, if you throw in 13 because New Mutants. I keep forgetting about that movie.
Everybody forgot about that movie. They forgot about that movie. They put it up. You talk about tax credit.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't get a tax credit on that movie.
But
you know what I mean? Like all these
seriously.
movies, all the movies, Batgirl and all these things, I don't know.
But there you go. If we're saying there's 13 movies, if my count is correct here, then 8 out of 13 is not bad. It's just that the way you ended.
That's the problem. Is that towards the end of it, you started off. Most of the really good ones came like between the beginning and the middle, and then
it was top heavy.
So this is a way to get people excited about it again, and these are the characters you should do. And as you're listing this stuff off, it just makes you say, yeah, man, build these characters up. And I think I go to wrestling. It's like you got these classic kind of wrestlers coming in now that people love, but you just got to get them familiar with the audience again, get their gimmicks going, and then let them lead the Federation. Because
it's funny, I didn't. There was. I don't even really follow wrestling like that anymore. I haven't since I was in middle school. But there was
CM
some.
Punk?
No. There was a women's title match that went down that people were like, this girl that was in this, it was way too soon for her to be here because she made the actual star right now not look great because there just was a sloppy match, I guess. I'll see if I can find the tweet. It was recent, it sounds like.
Okay. Who knows? Either way, again, X-Men talk here. This is are you guys excited about this? Do you think this is going to kind of push us towards getting more familiar for people who've kind of forgotten about them, the casual fan? What say you? All right, before we move on, I wanted to tell you guys that it's holiday season, man, and I'm really pumped that we have both GRENCHEF and Trade Coffee. You guys know how much I love Trade Coffee, how much I love GRENCHEF, and I'll tell you why right now.
It really is the holiday season. I'm so excited. Finally, Trade is back. I love Trade. I love Trade Coffee. I've been using Trade Coffee forever, and I'm so glad that they're back. Why? They are absolutely incredible, and Trade Coffee can help you nail your holiday gift
giving this year. Trust me, a subscription to Trade, it is the perfect gift for any coffee lover. You just choose how much to spend, and Trade is going to help your recipient personalize the coffee to their preference. Best of all, Trade's gift subscriptions cut out the worry around shipping deadlines, as the digital subscription is delivered instantly to their inbox. Well, what is it? Trade is a subscription service that sources the best coffee across the country and brings it to your doorstep. They've built relationships with 55 plus local rosters so you can enjoy their craft from the comfort of your own home. I've been using them since we had them last time, and I continue to. This is the one that I use. This is the Flores Bellas blend. I love it. It gets me going in the morning, baby. I love Trade coffee. You can hear how excited I am. I've been waiting. I've been wanting. I have Trade back to tell you guys about them. They're so amazing. They have any type of flavor. You want something, you want the dark coffee, you want something with a little bit more flavor, they got it all. So give the gift of better coffee at home. From now through December 25th, Trade is offering 15% off all gift subscriptions at drinktrade.com/bigthing. Shop now through Christmas Day to save. That's drinktrade.com/bigthing. 15% off all gift subscriptions through Christmas Day. drinktrade.com/bigthing. It will be the best Christmas present you can give this year. It is the holiday season, everybody. And what better way than to get the #1 meal kit for eating clean? That's GRENCHEF. Let GRENCHEF take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients with nothing artificial. You can choose from recipes featuring lean proteins like turkey and sockeye salmon, that's the best, barramundi, tilapia, scallops, shrimp, certified organic whole fruits, vegetables, eggs, plenty of whole grain options. I love GRENCHEF. I use them all the time. You guys know I've been talking about GRENCHEF forever. And why? Because they're the best. You can eat clean the delicious way this December with flavor-packed recipes like buttery lemon garlic shrimp, harissa apricot chicken, maple butternut squash risotto, and sriracha tamari beef bowls. They have so many great things. I've told you guys my favorite things that I do now. I make like these quesadillas that I get from them all the time because I love their food. I love the stuff that they send, and they give you recipes. If you want to follow them, you can make your own stuff. It really is fantastic because with GRENCHEF, you're reducing your food waste by up to 23% versus grocery shopping. It's the best. It is the best. You do so much for not only yourself, for the environment in general, and you're eating clean. It's delish. You go to GRENCHEF.com/60thing, and if you use the code 60thing, you're going to get 60% off, plus 20% off your next 2 months. That's the best deal ever. GRENCHEF.com/60thing. Use that code, man, 60thing, 60% off. How many times I got to say 60? All right, thank you to our friends over at GRENCHEF, over at Trade Coffee. So pumped to have them with us. As I said, you guys can help us out many different ways. I always say, if you can, and you have the means to, support us by getting one of our wonderful sponsors. You're doing something for yourself because you're getting something great like GRENCHEF, you're getting something great like Trade Coffee. Get them both and get them for gifts. So now let's move on to a subject that is going to be tough to talk about, but needs to be talked about. All right. So there's been a lot of talk about Jonathan Majors, whether or not he's going to return as Kang, whether or not, the continuation of Kang is going to happen because of all the legal problems that Jonathan Majors has. Well, that trial started, and there was a major, major video that was dropped about this case. And we normally don't talk about these types of things, but it does show it's very relevant to the conversation of what Marvel's going to wind up doing and conversations that we've had on this show about making decisions too fast when all the facts aren't in yet, right? So this is from our buddy Mark Cassidy, who's going to come on the show, by the way. I talked to him via Twitter. He's going to come by and visit us. Surveillance footage from the Jonathan Majors trial has surfaced online, and it shows the Quantumania star being chased by the woman he is accused of assaulting. As Jonathan Majors' assault trial continues, the Ant-Man and the Wasp's Quantumania star's defense team has rested, and the judge has approved the release of several pieces of evidence to the media. The evidence includes photos taken by Majors' ex-partner and accuser, Grace Jabari, which shows dark bruising on her finger, supposedly from a fracture sustained during her struggle with Majors, and a cut behind her ear. The 911 call made by Majors after he discovered Jabari unconscious in their apartment and body cam footage of police officers entering the premises. There's also surveillance footage of Majors throwing or placing, depending on whether you agree with the prosecution or defense, Jabari back in. I keep saying Jabari, huh?
What's her name?
It's Jabai.
Is it? Up
Jabari or
top, I
Jabari?
thought it said Jabari. Up top, it says Jabari.
Oh, so.
And then down here, it
I'll
says.
just say this. Hold on. There's also surveillance footage of Majors throwing or placing, depending on whether you agree with the prosecution or defense, of his accuser back into the vehicle, and the former then chased the actor 4 blocks, which she claims was to get answers about who he was texting. In addition, audio of recording Jabari said she made of Majors during an unrelated argument in September 22 was released, as well as a series of text messages which appear to show the actor asking his ex not to go to the hospital for treatment, possibly from injuries he caused. So I guess there's a text message here. So the closing arguments are expected to begin today, and the jury will soon begin deliberations. Majors faces 4 charges of misdemeanor assault, aggravated harassment, and harassment. The actor has pleaded not guilty to all charges, and if convicted, he could face up to a year behind bars. Majors has already been dropped from several high-profile projects, as well as his management company, Entertainment 360, and public relations team, the lead company. Marvel Studios has yet to take any action or comment on the situation, but that is likely to change depending on the outcome of this trial. There are rumors that Kevin Feige and company might be looking into potential Kang replacements, but Majors featured prominently in Season 2 of Loki and also been positioned as the primary villain of the next Avengers movie and potentially the next phase of the MCU. Again, that could all change very quickly. There's a lot here, man. I'll tell you what you watch the footage. I want to start with this. The first thing that we said, and I still stick by this, and I think Marvel has done this right. I do think Marvel has done this right, as Mark says in his article. You cannot make a decision yet until everything comes out and there is a verdict that comes out. Because no matter what, people are going to be pleased or unpleased with whatever you decide. But as a company, you have to listen to all these facts first, and you have to see. Because there's other footage. Nobody knew that maybe they did know that footage was out there. The public didn't know. What it seems like, she's chasing him around. He's trying to get away from her, right? I'll tell you, those texts don't look good.
No.
Those texts don't look good at all. Those texts
no.
look like he's kind of, he's going through a lot of stuff mentally, and that's not what you tell somebody. That you're putting that on them.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
But that's, I don't know, but that's two different things, but there's still a lot there. So more needs to come out, but I still stand by, as I said in the beginning of the show, you can't make a decision right now if you're Marvel going, fire him. Because you don't know yet what else is going to come out.
The way that Marvel needs to handle this, and I think that's what they're doing as far as the rumors of whatever direction they might go, it's very much you need to stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right.
And I think it's a situation of, if it goes one way, we're ready to continue with Kang. If it goes the other way, then we're ready to move on with Kang. And I think that is the correct. You just need to be ready.
I think Kang stays
direction.
no matter what. I
think
think
so?
Kang stays no matter what.
But Majors might go.
I think that's what's going to happen. I think that because there was some rumors that they were going to change Kang Dynasty, and then they said they weren't. There's other reports that they weren't going to do it, and there was, Sam Raimi was coming on to stick with Kang stuff. So I think because of the multiverse stuff, I think that they can find a way to maneuver it if they need to.
Yeah, it's just the whole situation is just really interesting, because as this is played out, there has been a back and forth on because those text messages don't look good, but then you see the video footage of him running, and it's kind of like, okay, it looks like he actually was trying to get away from her, and she's the one, which had been talked about.
And
at
the
one
driver
point,
said that she was the aggressor.
Which you had that. You had the situation where like she was approached by the cops of like turning herself in and admitting to whatever kind of misdemeanor stuff, but that she wouldn't then be charged for like attacking him. Like there's been a lot of stuff like back and forth, but again, those text messages do not look good. There's a lot of people that had come out when this all went down that they had their own accounts of things that he had done and
college
whatnot.
And stuff, right? Yeah.
So it's one of those things that from the jump, I have said this, I was like, it is tragic either way, because either he did it and he's a monster and that's awful, or he didn't do it, and you have a situation where like this man then essentially,
it seems like he's going through like mental health wise a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
And whether whatever the reasons that is happening or not, like you said, you got to look. This is why I tell people in general when it comes to any of this stuff, you gotta wait until all the facts are brought to the table,
Right.
Because this is what we do on social media all the time. It's like this is what a lot of people do. I've seen people go, I'm not watching Loki now because I'm not watching Loki. I just can't do it because of everything he's done. You don't know that yet. You have the right to do that, but you don't know that yet. You also don't know. He needs to be recast. You weren't there. We don't know. Now the other side of it is too. I do think that if it turns out that this woman was indeed a victim, and indeed like he did the things that he needs to go.
Absolutely.
He needs to go.
Absolutely.
He needs to not be around anymore, and he's got to work on himself, and he needs to go.
I really miss the opportunity because I even think about some of my friends and everybody has become a slave to this idea with social media of you see a headline, boom, you've made your decision.
Yeah.
I am that person that if I have a political difference with somebody, if somebody says something I don't agree with, unless it is a complete, absolute like no type situation, like some white person just calls me the N-word.
Right.
There ain't gonna be no negotiation that we're done.
Right, because there's that person not looking for negotiation. They're just hateful.
That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But any sort of political thing, like, you know, however you feel about it, I'm going to ask questions and I want to know why. And I want to present my own kind of whatever. And then if there is no wiggle room, if there's literally like a, no, you're wrong, go F yourself, then fine. I don't need to F with you and now I've made my decision. But this idea of immediately, I hear one little thing and I don't.
Guilty by public opinion, man.
That to me is crazy and it's terrifying because the truth is, what I think a lot of people don't realize, at least for me as like a black man, I think about stuff like Emmett Till. That white woman says he whistled at me, he tried to whatever, and that's a death sentence automatically. And I'm not making Jonathan Majors to be like some sort
you're
of
just
like
saying we don't know yet.
But just in life, when you make those rash decisions, you are setting yourself up for taking people that don't deserve that vitriol and ruining them. And that's not good because then we cannot connect as humans anymore.
Well, it's also, and I understand this logic of people going, well, I can't trust the justice system. And sure, but it's the way it's run. So the thing what you need to do is, okay, look, what you can say is throughout this whole time, and I've said it and I continue to say it, the accusations aren't good.
They're not good.
And you can say the accusations, they're not good. And as we just said before, if it turns out that they go through due process and it turns out that the jury goes, no, this guy did some shit.
Then you gotta go.
Then you gotta go.
Then you gotta go. I think that's the other thing that has to be taken into account. There's you know, people feel different ways about Charlemagne the God. He's a radio host, personality, all that kind of stuff. But there's one thing that he said during the whole Me Too movement that I thought was very, very important. I think it's super spot on. He said specifically, what came out of Me Too is this idea that women were not being listened to, women were not being believed, and that's a massive problem. But like anything else, all humans have the potential for abusing things, the system, whatever else, etc. That could be bad people. Again, I look at the woman that got Emmett Till killed, right? So what is so paramount is that you need to listen to.
Well, they weaponize it.
Yeah. People can. Yeah. So what he says is you need to listen to all women and then believe and look at all evidence.
Right.
And so to that point, absolutely, this case needs to be taken with the utmost seriousness. Everything that she claims, that it needs to be. Oh my God. Okay, you hear it all out. You get all the evidence that you need. You listen to his side of the story. You put it through the justice system, and you just. Again, I agree. The justice system has its own things, but I think it is just that.
It's the way it works. You got to look at it, and like then the same thing, like as that article and what Mark does, I think very well there is he puts the stuff in there. When I look at that, when I look at different pieces, if I'm sitting in the jury at this point, like just from that, because I don't know everything else that's being said, but if I look at that and I go, well, that video looks like, I don't know, it doesn't look to me doesn't look to me like he's throwing her. It looks like he's like, I need to get myself away from this situation. I'm out, and he takes off. Right? That's part one. I think if you're looking at it like, well, my opinion starts to go towards him in that video. But then if I start looking at those text messages,
it starts to go back toward
It starts to go back towards her because it's like she's trying to discuss with him and tell him, you can't talk like that because I love you, and you keep telling me I'm worried about you. I got to call somebody if you keep doing that, and that is a form of like mental manipulation.
It is. It's emotional abuse. It can be.
It's emotional abuse.
1,000%.
Because you're basically making somebody feel guilty and saying, I'm going to do this if you don't do that.
Right.
So I don't know all the facts.
Right.
And if there's other things that come out, the jury, they know they're getting all the facts. So I don't know. It's tricky. Yeah.
Another thing that pops to mind immediately is Ezra. So when that first video comes out of Ezra choking that random lady, that's why I was like, okay, I have questions.
What is that? Right.
Is this a joke?
Right.
Is this real?
Right.
Was this a sketch? What is
They still
happening?
don't know what's going on with
And
Ezra.
for nothing to come out, then I have to draw conclusions based off of just the pieces that I'm given based off of that. But at least with the situation, as facts are coming out, then it's like, okay. And same thing. It is still, in my opinion, not our place to do that is for the courts, that is for a jury, that is for a judge, so we can make our opinions, but it is to wait until that is dealt
and all
with.
that stuff is out there. But it is also, Marvel's also in the right if they want to at the end of this. Where what I'm saying is that at the very end of this, if more things like this tech stuff comes out and more things come out to where it's like, okay, maybe he didn't do all this stuff, but there might be stuff that this guy's going through that we don't think that this is the right call anymore. They have the right to do that.
Absolutely.
They absolutely have the right to do it based off of things that are going on inside of this thing. But I think it's on a lot of times we give the studios and we give the production companies, and rightfully so, shit for like the way that they just kind of fly off the handle and bow to public, the mobs, if you will. Marvel didn't do that. They're waiting to hear what's going on. And I think that they should be like, okay, good for them to try to figure it all out first. They will make a decision soon. But I will say this, even after those text messages, if they decided, we hope he gets better. We hope mentally he gets better. But we got to move on right now. I wouldn't blame him.
I wouldn't blame him
right now.
It's funny, man, because there's been so many like celebrities in the news for just all sorts of random stuff. I think back to like, and this is where I myself I think that was the point at which I said I need to take a step back and look at everything.
Yeah.
Do you remember the whole like Jussie Smollett situation?
Yeah, of course.
So
he's going back to jail again.
He is. So that whole situation, that when this whole thing started to hear that, I immediately went into, oh my God.
Right.
And I was a staunch defender. I was like, no, this happened, et cetera, et cetera. And then as things started to come out, and then as all the pieces started to come together, and then as the evidence with the cameras and everything else, I was like, I may have
feel
jumped the
betrayed.
gun.
But you
And
feel betrayed.
I both felt betrayed and furious, because
Sure.
I'm like, how dare you make a mockery of this? But it's also like that is where I think I went, I need to slow my roll, and I need to wait for things to happen.
You just said it. There's a way to weaponize it through social media, and there's a way to weaponize it in the way that he did. And people do it, and it's like, and it happens a lot, and it happens, what it does is it takes away from the people who are really going to be, who are actual victims, right? Like, let's say, because here's the other thing. Let's say, again, all the facts come out, and it turns out that this woman is indeed a victim, and that there is more so, and that maybe, like, we see one thing in that video, right? Maybe there is more of a reason or something else behind it that we don't know. Like, we can see what we see from the video itself, and the way it looks to us right now is that he's trying to get out of there. There might be another explanation for it. We don't know.
Right.
I don't know her. I don't know him.
I will never forget, man, because I get the most angry at people that will weaponize any situation where you are considered the minority, the oppressed, anything. If you weaponize that stuff, I'll never forget. There was a black woman who was arrested by this cop. She made a claim to the cop. I'm not going to say it because it'll demonetize this whole thing, but she was by the cop or whatever, and she was going to sue him, and she was screaming Black Lives Matter and all this kind of stuff. And then the body camera footage came out, and this was the most professional cop that you've ever seen in your entire life. And she even is caught on camera saying, I am going to tell people that you did this to me, and that's going to be you're done. And it's, I have never been so angry in my life as far as a situation like that, because again, there are real women, there are real black folk that are genuinely dealing with awful things, and you used it to get away with stuff. So that's why I am so, at this point, when someone says it, I take it seriously, but I just wait until I get everything.
That's all you can do, man. And again, I think that Marvel, I will say, I do think, though, they're going to stick with Kang. I think right now the chances of Jonathan Majors, whether it turns out he is cleared of all these charges or not, I don't know if he's going to return. I think Kang returns. I don't think Jonathan Majors does.
Yeah.
Regardless. Now, I don't know. However we can transition away from this, we'll try. But what I'll tell you is that you guys, I want to hear your comments on it. I want to hear your thoughts on it. I want to hear what you think as far as...
Keep it respectful.
I will say that I don't want to sound condescending, but I'm proud of our audience.
Yeah.
When it comes to comments and it comes to conversations like this, we seem to get a lot of great conversations, and you get a couple turds here and there, but they wind up in spam anyway, so you don't really see it. But for the most part, we get a really good conversation. Let's keep that going. All your thoughts, everything you think, put it in the comments, and let's have a good discussion. All right, another one. Percy Jackson is a very highly anticipated show in my household. My daughter cannot wait for Percy Jackson. So Percy Jackson, the Olympians, the star, Walker Scobell, responds to the rumors that he's going to play Kidpool in Deadpool 3. There's been speculation for months that Walker Scobell will appear in Deadpool 3, and we asked the actor about a possible cameo during the recent Percy Jackson and the Olympians press conference. This was, again, Josh Wilding at Comic Book Movie. Walker Scobell made a name for himself in movies like The Secret Headquarters and The Atom Project, holding his own on-screen with the likes of Owen Wilson and Ryan Reynolds. Now, though, he's set to take center stage for Disney Plus's Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Back in September, Reynolds sent Marvel fans into a frenzy when he liked an ex-post suggesting that Scobell could play Kidpool in Deadpool 3. Since then, it's been widely accepted the young actor will be among the many Deadpool variants that appear in the threequel next summer. In the comics, Kidpool is an alternate reality version of Deadpool as a child who debuted in the Deadpool core series. Known for his youthful exuberance, Kidpool possesses similar regenerative abilities and a penchant for chaos. During the global press conference for Percy Jackson and the Olympians, we asked Scobell, who went viral for reeling off with the Merc with the Mouse R-rated monologue, whether working with actors of Wilson and Reynolds' caliber helped prepare him to lead this series. However, we also wondered whether he is hoping to reunite with them. So he said this.
Hey guys, so for Walker, I was wondering how much did working with actors like Ryan Reynolds and Owen Wilson on previous projects as a young actor help prepare you to take center stage in a series like this one? And is there a chance we might see you reunite with those guys in Deadpool 3?
Not that I know of, but I think I learned a lot of valuable lessons from them that I used while filming Percy Jackson. And yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not, hopefully we reunite someday, but yeah, I don't know.
You want to do the monologue?
I would, but since it's Disney Plus.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple things here. One, he's telling the truth, and he looked, I don't know, I'm going to probably not. There's no talks of it. Two, he talks to Ryan Reynolds. Like you see they're back and forth. And he talks to him. He's just like, make sure you don't say anything. You're probably going to, because Ryan Reynolds is very PR savvy. He's probably like, you're going on your Percy Jackson thing? People are going to ask you about this. Say nothing. Be prepared for it. Say nothing. I could see that happening as well. I just feel like this movie, Deadpool 3 right now, seems so overly crowded. Now, I don't, that's not fair because I don't know how it's written. But the good news is this. Ryan Reynolds basically had a thing a little while ago where he was tweeting out like mock spoilers of Mickey Mouse on set and this other things because he's tired of people leaking stuff. What I had said with Roke on Monday is I said, they should start leaking that everybody's going to be in this movie. They should start leaking and not goofy ones that people are going, wait a minute. They should put people that are, Jennifer Lawrence is coming back as Mystique. This person's coming back. So when it
Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Iron Man.
Everything.
Like all of it.
Everything. Start leaking stuff like left and right to where you're like
oversaturated.
Even if it's like, let's say using the Downey example. If I'm Ryan Reynolds, I would say something along the lines of, hey, Robert, I know you're around. Do me a favor. Come by set today. Just come by set and walk on the set.
We'll put a shirt with your arc reactor.
Something with glasses on. Where and then it's like, what in the world? And just like start planting stuff. So it just throws off so much misinformation that people like, Downey's going to be in, he's not in it. This person's going to be in, they're not in it. And then when someone does show up, like, oh, they said this person was supposed to be in it, and I guess he is in it. So it's like, the Daniel Radcliffes of the world and all this stuff. So it's getting to a place where there's so much leaking that who knows what's real and who's not. It's kind of a benefit to them.
Because what you could even do is you could even have a situation, because, Poole breaks the fourth wall all the time. Just at the end of the movie, the scene was, so you were probably wondering when all those other supposed leaks are going to be here. And you could just be like, cast photo, and then just have them all stand there and that's it. And you were like, it was like. He could even make a whole speech of like, I had to throw you off the trail, like whatever,
something
because
like that, yeah.
Because truthfully, I am getting sick of all of the paparazzi being like, I gotta be first, and ruining like what could be really fun, incredible moments. You know,
trying to get some people to click on their sites. But anyway, do you guys feel the same way we do? Let us know. I want to. There's two more things I want to talk about today, but before I do, I also want to tell you about two more things that I think you'll be very happy about, and I've told you about them all week, and I can't wait to tell you about them again. And that's NUTS.com and NUTRAFOL. Here we go.
This is the best. Nuts. Get off my nuts. Don't touch my nuts. I love these nuts.
I love them.
Listen, you ever been to a candy store? You ever been to Willy Wonka's chocolate factory? Probably not the last one, but you can get something close. Check this out, nuts.com. Maybe you can't get to the chocolate factory, but I'll get you close enough. The online version of that is nuts.com. Besides just having a lot of great nuts, they have classic candies. They got butterscotch, they got fudge, and licorice. Cashews, almonds, pecans, pistachios, dried mango, crystallized ginger, dates, jelly beans, jawbreakers, root beer barrels. It goes on and on and on at nuts.com. I was so excited to have them come along. I mean, look at that. That's what I got. That's what I've been eating. That's what I've been chewing on. Yeah, and even that little fat pug that I love so much, he loves it too. Although he can't really eat nuts, but he loves smelling them. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruits, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and much more. They have a wide selection. It means that there's something for everyone. At nuts.com, quality, top priority. They roast their nuts and they pop their corn the same day that it ships. They reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed, and I can be a testament. Right now, I'm snacking on these because I love these almonds. They're really good. And I know, not ideal when you're telling people about stuff to have food in your face, but I can't stand it to keep them away from me. They're right in front of my face. I have to eat nuts.com. So, again, stay away from my nuts. Get your own nuts. Nuts.com. So listen to this deal. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders for $29 or more at Nuts.com/bigthing. So if you check out all the delicious options at Nuts.com/bigthing, you're going to get a free gift and free shipping if you spend $29 or more. Nuts.com/bigthing. Yes, there are a lot more nuts jokes I could have made. Don't be embarrassed. Don't do it. Listen, did you know that 80% of men will experience hair thinning in their lifetime? It's normal, guys. But it doesn't have to be your fate. You can get ahead of thinning with NUTRAFOL. NUTRAFOL is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement clinically shown to improve your hair growth, visible thickness, and visible scalp coverage. NUTRAFOL's hair growth supplements use physician-formulated, natural, science-backed ingredients. Their drug-free, patented technology provides consistent, reliable results without compromising your sexual health. Go to Nutrafol.com/men to take their hair wealth wellness quiz. Identify causes of your thinning hair, and Nutrafol will give you a personalized plan for better hair health through whole body wellness. It works. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol men's hair growth supplements. Everybody feels this way as you're getting older. You're like, oh man, am I the only one? Why is this happening to me? This and that. We're in an age now where you can get it helped. You can get it fixed. Take the first step to visibly thicker, healthier hair. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com/men, but you have to enter that promo code BIGTHING. Find out why over 4,000 healthcare professionals recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com/men. Nutrafol.com/men and enter that code BIGTHING. That's Nutrafol.com/men, promo code BIGTHING. All right, thank you to our friends over at Nuts.com and Nutrafol. Dude, I've been annihilating these chocolate peanuts that Sadie ordered from Nuts.com. Oh, they're so good.
Yeah, you've been annihilating chocolate nuts.
Hell yeah. I said peanuts. Peanuts, not peanuts. Peanuts.
You just
not peanuts,
chocolate nuts. You just chocolate nuts.
Chocolate
baby.
nuts. Hey, listen. Sign me up.
Sign me up. Because if that's what it is. If
Do you know I can see you?
Hell yeah. I'm telling you, listen, whether it's that and almonds too. You got something dirty for that, you fuck. So almonds, cashews.
Got almond joy in your mouth.
Hey, listen, this guy's talking about chocolate nuts and he's sitting next to a brother. This guy's gonna wind up teabagging him. He's gonna wind up knocking him to the floor. He's not gonna be able to get up and be like getting hit with two 75-pound bowling balls.
Hey man, you ever had a hot horchata?
Hey, listen, not for nothing, but watch your choices in language. How about NUTRAFOL? All this talk about chocolate nuts, your hair might fall out. If that's the case, get NUTRAFOL.
Hey, yo, I went into this bar. I just taken my NUTRAFOL and I saw this one girl and she looked amazing. I was like, I knew she was gonna fall.
I knew it.
Just gotta take her home.
That's right. I said, hey, listen, I got a friend who's gonna bring over his chocolate nuts. Anyway, thanks for joining us. I saw this, and this is interesting. All right, this is part of the show called the No Shit News. Deadpool 3 tops Fandango's list of most anticipated, but Madame Web and Kraven the Hunter are missing in action. Yeah, who would have guessed that? Deadpool 3 has been singled out as 2024's most anticipated movie and superhero movie, according to Fandango users. But there's no sign of Madame Web or Kraven the Hunter. Fandango, North America's leading online movie ticketing service, has surveyed more than 8,000 ticket buyers to find out which films and performances movies are most anticipated in 2024. According to the company's 2024 most anticipated movie survey, the films that fans are most excited to see are Deadpool 3, Beetlejuice 2, Ghostbusters, Dune Part 2, Venom 3, Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, and more. The new year is looking to bring even more people back into the theaters through returning franchises such as Deadpool, Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, Despicable Me, beloved reimagined stories like Mean Girls and Wicked Part 1, and highly anticipated action blockbusters like Dune Part 2 and Quiet Place Day 1. The list of most anticipated superhero movies makes for a particularly interesting reading. 2024's solo MCU movie, Deadpool 3, tops the list, and followed by Venom 3, which somehow beats Joker Folie à Deux. It's hard to say what Transformers 1 and Godzilla x Kong The New Empire are doing on a list of superhero movies, but they both top Madame Web and Kraven the Hunter. It's also not surprising to see that there's a huge amount of excitement among moviegoers to see more of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. Below, you'll find the full results of the Fandango's 2024 most anticipated survey. So here it is. All right, the 2024 most anticipated wide release films: Deadpool 3, Beetlejuice 2, Ghostbusters, Dune, Venom 3, Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, that's an animated film, Gladiator 2, Quiet Place Day 1. Most anticipated new performances on the big screen: Lady Gaga, Jenna Ortega, Ariana Grande, Chris Pratt as Garfield, really, and Pedro Pascal in Gladiator 2. Most anticipated heroes: Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool, Steve Carell. Yeah, they're all sequels and stuff. So when you look at all that, I mean, by leading Madame Web, the trailer wasn't good. And people were kind of goofing about it, unless you're coy. People didn't really respond to that trailer
because it looks terrible.
Yeah, and I understand Coy's points and what he likes about it, and I think there's a lot of people that like that kind of 90s style, but it's minus Venom. It ain't working really, So, and then the other one, Kraven. Kraven didn't look good either, and Sony doesn't have a hold on it. So I'm not surprised at all that they're missing. And it is good news for Marvel that people are as hyped up for Deadpool as we think, because what we were just talking about in our last story, you might not like the leaks, but it means people give a shit about your movie, and it also means that it gets a lot of people talking about it. So that movie is going to be a massive, massive film.
I think what it is, and that's what's scary, is that Venom has at least proven itself. I know people don't like, some people love it and some people hate it, but there's enough of an audience that it made $1 billion the first time.
Yeah.
And then still made a
pretty good second
good amount of money for the second one. So at least you have that hype there. Then you had Morbius. So the problem is that by having Morbius be out there, you have lost all street cred in order to, because again, you had mixed reviews technically of Venom. You had enough of a crowd that people liked it, but it was mixed.
Sure.
So then you released Morbius.
There was nobody was saying about Venom, even the people who loved it. Oh, that's a great movie.
No, it was fun.
Yeah, and that's like, and people like Tom Hardy,
Right?
And it's the back and forth with the two of them. Fine, but it's not. It's. I mean, to me, you know, you're gonna lose me on the stuff like a turd, whatever he says,
rolling in the wind,
like a turd. But I don't know those movies. Who knows how that third one's gonna be?
You do nothing but fart jokes, and a turd rolling in the wind was the thing that ruined you.
I don't know what it was, but it was like, but either way, and the Madam Web thing is like that trailer. I was like, what is that movie?
Yeah.
What is that? And I like Dakota Johnson.
And I think that's just the thing. I think that Sony has put out such good stuff with Spider-Man, whether you're talking about the Spider-Verse movies, whether you're talking about their influence, obviously, in Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home. Talking about the Venoms, again, hit or miss for folks, but good enough that, again, $1 billion for one and like a lot of money for the second. So you have good street cred from them, but you have enough bad that like
real bad,
right, that you're looking at these two films, and since neither of them are really giving you like maybe a cool action sequence, but there's nothing that's being given that makes you go, ooh.
No. And if it wasn't for the fact that all of the movies were moved because of the strike, Craven and Madam would probably land in January, but they're coming out in like February or March, whatever.
Well, Craven was supposed to come out this year.
Yeah, it was.
And the strike is what pushed it.
Yeah.
And so I look, I want them to be good because I'll be honest, both from the standpoint of I think good movies coming out is good for everybody, but especially for the superhero genre, which feels like it could be on life. It's on life support right now based off of what's been going on.
Yeah, it doesn't need more turds.
I want nothing more than those two. I was so wrong because of the trailer. This is actually phenomenal. I hope that's what I'm saying. I just don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, what do you guys think? Go ahead and comment. Any of the stuff that we just covered there, as far as the anticipated movies that are coming out in general, throw your comments there about that. But as far as does Madam Web or Craven land on your anticipated list? And if it does, tell us why. I would really like to know as far as what you're excited about it. Is it in your top 10 list? Last story. All right, two more stories, actually. The first one is going to be about Agatha. Darkhold Diaries rumored to have undergone another title change. And now this one might stick. Mark Cassidy. When it was officially announced, Marvel Studios' WandaVision spinoff was known as Agatha House of Harkness. That was later changed to Agatha, Coven of Chaos, and more recently, Agatha Darkhold Diaries. Now, the Disney Plus series is rumored to have undergone yet another title change. And we really should have seen this coming. According to Scooper, CWGST, the show's final title will be, according to Scooper, CWGST, the show's final title will be Agatha All Along. Again, this probably shouldn't come as much of a surprise since the various title changes always seem to be building towards a final reveal. And Agatha All Along, the name of the song star Catherine Hahn sings in WandaVision when her character is unveiled as the villain, was the most likely choice. Marvel recently debuted the first footage from the show via behind-the-scenes featurette, but we may see a full teaser if and when this final title is officially made. The video spotlighted Hahn as the returning sorceress, who was supporting some new duds, which looked like they could be inspired by her later comic book appearances. Okay, so there's that. They also, by the way, inside, I think it was around the same time, they also had really good reviews so far of Echo, albeit, you know, not a lot of people saw it, but enough people who saw it said whatever they saw liking so far. This title does make sense. I don't know if this was a strategy to release 87 titles before it was like, just wait.
We just told Deadpool to do this person's in it and this person's in it. Throw them off the trail.
I guess, but is this one as anticipated as like Deadpool? You know, it's like just come up with a title. It's like,
yeah, I think that would have been their strongest title anyway.
From the beginning. It makes sense from
I think that knowing, you know, that was probably the linchpin. Like the whole show was good.
Yeah.
But I will never forget how I was like, oh my God, when that song dropped and like it was doing the reveal while also like it made all those moments where you're like, what is happening?
Right.
And all of a sudden you're like,
where does she fit in to the grand scheme of things, though, is my question. Like, is it just like a one-off spin-off of because it's Catherine Hahn. We love Catherine Hahn. And She was a good character inside of it. Does she do anything in the greater MCU, or is it just a throwaway?
Just from like her mystical elements and whatnot? I mean, I think that opens whatever avenue you might want for bringing Wanda back. If you do, I know they had said that was they're kind of sunsetting on Wanda, but you have that because of her connection to the magic. There's obviously the whole, we're not done with Doctor Strange, like based off of how that went. So there's ways to tie him back into it.
If they ever do anything with Charlize Theron, ever.
If they ever do anything with her,
Right.
you know, and then just the fact that like we've been told that Mephisto is going to be a thing. So like
But this is where I go back to what we talked about before with X-Men. There's so much like this could happen because this is up in the air because you got this character that could show up and then this character could show up and we don't really know who that character is. We like that because it's Catherine Hahn. And then Charlize Theron is a famous movie star, but we don't know what's going on with her. Doctor Strange, the last movie, though, made a lot of money. Some people liked it, some people didn't. So we haven't really even talked about him lately. It's like it's all over the place.
I get that. Here is the one thing
Spaghetti,
I know.
Michael Keaton.
I know that there was. I know that there was infinitely more time for Loki to develop, but think about it. You had a likable villain with a very talented actor that people were like, I kind of F's with him. And at first people were like, you're giving Loki a show. And then look what it became.
I don't know. Loki.
He had time to develop.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't see a lot of people saying you're giving Loki a show because by the time Thanos takes him out, you're like, no, because like you said, he developed. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm curious what everybody else is talking about out there.
I got to believe if they haven't scrapped it at this point after everything that's been going on and knowing that it is like that, it's got to have something in there because, again, Catherine Hahn knocked it so out of the park.
She did. She was,
and I believe they won both an Emmy and a Grammy for Agatha All Along, the song.
Okay.
So like you have awards tied to it. It may not necessarily have been directly, but like WandaVision, I think won an Emmy for limited series. Did it?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Either way, the point is that you have something there.
It was acclaimed.
Yeah, it was acclaimed. You at least have it had multiple nominations.
Sure,
so there's that.
sure.
So you have something there. So if they've really developed that out, I think it's something you don't let go of, and I believe that it will do well. I hope.
I hope it does too. So again, thoughts on that? We touched with Echo a little bit too. Are you guys excited about that one? What are you excited about more? You excited about Echo more? Are you excited about Agatha? That one I'm actually really curious to see what you guys say, because I know what the answer would have been 6 months ago. But after that trailer and after the buzz that's coming out with Echo, what say you? I'll tell you right now that my answer would have been different 6 months ago. My answer would have been Agatha. I love Catherine Hahn. I don't even know what this Echo show is. If I can only take one, Echo all day. After that trailer, Echo all day. After that trailer, I want to see Vincent D'Onofrio return to form all day over magic and stuff.
I go Agatha only because I am afraid. I still think Echo will be good, but I am afraid because I've had trailers fool me before that they found a way to go, let's get all the best stuff and make this look incredible, and then we might get
I get that, but what I'm saying is, if they give me what they show me in the trailer to me is more intriguing to me that I want to take a shot with that over the other one. But again, we ask you guys. All right, final story of the day. Thor 5. Garreth Edwards responds to the rumors that he's being eyed to helm the MCU sequel. Again, Mark Cassidy, comic book movie. Marvel Studios is believed to be in the early stages of developing a fifth Thor, and while Thor Ragnarok and Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi has already taken himself out of the running, a recent rumor said that Garreth Edwards was being eyed to helm the project. Edwards was asked about it during an interview, and while it sounded like he was surprised to see his name mentioned in connection with the film, he admits that he might be interested under the right circumstances. He said, look, I saw those rumors too. I saw it, and I jokingly sent it to my girlfriend. I just texted her the link, and I said, I don't want you to find out this way. I've never heard anything about it. It's totally, the internet is an incredible place, and I love those movies. I love Marvel. A lot of my friends work on Marvel films. I love all the other movies and franchises. I go to see them. I have most of them on my shelf. But I really want to keep pursuing original sci-fi. Was that a very politically correct answer? I never say never. In the right circumstances, absolutely. Okay, so that's all I need to read there. I'd like to see him get a shot. Yeah. I like him as a person. I like him as a filmmaker. I think he got a raw deal with the whole Rogue One thing, but I think that he played ball, never talked ill will of anything over there. I think more people should have seen the creator because that was the original sci-fi. I loved his answer of the original sci-fi thing, but I think he should get another shot at a movie like this to where he can actually do on his own without interference, even though Rogue One is probably for the better that it came out the way that it did. But yeah, I'd love to see him get his hands on Thor. I'd like to see what he would do.
If that's what he wants.
Yeah.
I am just of the mindset, I do not want anybody touching these unless it is something they want.
It was a good answer, though. He was politicking it for it, and it was a political answer, and it was a good answer the way that he said, because if the internet does get people jobs. Look at Rosario Dawson for Ahsoka, right? If you look at, and that's one of many examples. And
Donald Glover for Spider-Man. The idea that whole situation, Coy will go on a full 10-minute diatribe about it, but because when they were trying to find the new Spider-Man before they found Andrew Garfield, you had this situation where Donald's fans were like, he'd be great for it, and they were trying to push him. No, Miles got created because Donald wanted to be the new Spider-Man, and there was a whole campaign, and when it didn't play out, Miles was created in the comics, and then he also became the first voice of Miles in one of the animated shows, and then that's why him then being in Homecoming as his uncle. It's amazing how things the internet can create at times. So that being said, I know people feel some way about the Eternals. We both really enjoyed it. Yeah. That was Chloe Zhao being like, "This is what I want to do. This is the characters. This is the movie I want to make. What do you think?" That Black Panther, Ryan Coogler walking in, "Hey man, this is Black Panther. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create." I want people that are passionate about doing this. And if Garth, if he's like, "Yeah, I love Thor. I'm in." Awesome.
And he can play a science fiction element to it, obviously, with Thor.
Absolutely.
And I'd love to see Garreth Edwards do that. And I think
Gareth, my bad, I said Garth.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I think that he needs that kind of I think Thor needs a facelift right now.
Absolutely.
Like, completely.
So if he's about that life, I am here for it. But if it's something he's like, it'd be cool, I don't want that. I want someone that's like, no, I want this. That'd be great.
I think he's also got to be careful, how much. I think he probably does, but it's like you got to be careful how needy you look.
Oh, absolutely.
Too. But I would love to see him. I think it'd be a great choice. What do you guys think? Should it be? First of all, do you agree with me that Thor needs a facelift? Should they go back to a little bit more of the serious Thor? What say you? And is Garreth Edwards the guy that could do it? All right, look, this is a fun show. We talked about a lot today. And anything you guys want to talk about, please put it in the comments section. As always, hit that button, subscribe to the channel if you can. I'd like to thank Winston A. Marshall for being here with me. Winston, where can they find you?
You can find me on all the socials at the Swaggy Blurred, here on YouTube as well. Check out my reviews and my comic stuff and blah, 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 blah. It's a lot of fun, so come say what's up.
Speaking of comic stuff, on the Patreon, as you can find our show, our stand-up comedy show, you can also find the great Wicked Art, where you see the intro to this episode. He did a 3-issue comic book of Capes and Cowls with myself, Winston, and Coy as the leads of the comic book. It's really great. And in order for him to keep doing it, because he doesn't want to I don't blame him, put the effort in to do it if people aren't checking out and giving him his giving feedback. So if you're on Patreon already, read the issues. You get it. It's part of the benefits. Read it, give him your feedback. And also, if you're not and you want to check it out, I mean, it has everybody in it. Roxy's in there, Steph's in there, it's a Flirt and Flouse, Big Balls, they're all in there. So go and check it out. All right, so for Winston A. Marshall, I'm me, you're you. We'll see you next time.